Hi there, it's Sally from Rickety Snippets here, and today I've got a kind of weaving project for you. So I've created these heart shapes, and I don't know if you can see on the front there, but they are woven. So woven in paper, that's the front, and you can see a bit better here probably, the weave on the back. And these have kind of got multiple uses, so you could use them in your junk journal as a kind of floating pocket, or as a tag for a gift. Or even as a garland. So I'll talk a bit more at the end about how you might use them. So as you can see, I've had lots of fun, lots of different colours and designs. I've got really into it, but I think I better stop now in case actually nobody else likes them but me. But if you do like them and like to see other colours, like some purples and things, just let me know in the comments and I'll very gladly make some more because I quite enjoyed them. So they come in pairs. So these ones are in the shop together. These ones match the folio in the box that I released a couple of weeks ago. And then these two and these two. And I've also created a freebie. So hang about until the end and I'll tell you how you can get your hands on it. So these are all the elements as it prints out. And on the back, I've printed one of the pattern papers. So I'm actually going to cut this out using a craft knife. You can do it with scissors, but I want these lines to be very straight. So I'm going to do it with a knife. But if you're not happy about using a knife or you're very good at cutting straight lines, then, feel free to use scissors. So there are 4 lines here that you need to cut, and they start here, and depending on the pattern, some of them are harder to see than others. In fact, some of the designs have meant I had to use 2 different colours to make the lines so that they show up. So if you have trouble when you're cutting, so we're going to cut from this end down to the bottom, but if you're having trouble seeing where they are once you've got the ruler up against them, you can just line your ruler up with the top of those lines at the beginning and then just make a kind of faint pencil line that way, which will really help you see where to line your ruler up. Oh, it will if you get it at the top, which I haven't done. It's better. And obviously you can rub those out, and quite often they won't show. I'm going to rub these end ones out. So it's just between the 4 lines. There we are. Right, okay, so I'm going to cut the outside of these straight lines and these 4 lines in the middle. There we go. So I've just used scissors to cut out the rest of the pieces. I should have said I've printed it onto regular paper, so not cardstock this time, because it's just a little bit too thick and you lose some of your pattern when you start weaving. And you might notice I've left some white areas on these, so I've cut those out, and I've just left a little bit of white on the top of these 2, and then also on the top of this. So I did actually cut the beginning of that curve off just right at the edges there, but I've left a bit as a halo around the rest of it, and also I've left a bit on the bottom here. So I've made my cuts here but just left it attached, because I find that it makes it hold together better when you're weaving and trying to match the pattern up, but it's up to you. If you find that a bit unwieldy, then you can cut the bottom off there as well. Okay, so I'm going to grab the 2 bits, and then what we want is for this top image to mirror this one underneath when you lay it on top like that. So they're kind of at right angles to each other, and then they make up the whole heart. And then you just start weaving. So imagine you've all done this before, but so I'm going to go under the first strip, over the second one, under the next one, over the next one, and then under that final one. And then I'm just going to reverse that for the next strip. Let's bring all those to the front. So because I went under that first one, I'm going to go over the first strip and under the second one, over, under, over. And at this point, I'm not fussing too much about where it's lining up, but I just want it to be at a kind of right angle here and get them reasonably close together. And then, so I'm going to do the same for the rest of the strips. So that last one went over, so I'm going to go under for this one. Okay, so these are quite nicely placed because they're all attached at the bottom, but these ones are a bit splayed out, so we'll need to tidy those up a bit. And the aim of the game is to get the heart shape, so it's a complete heart shape, so it's a little bit off now. If you can see these edges are a bit off, and up here as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is just pull that bit together so that fits together nicely to make the shape at the top. And then I'm going to tidy these up a little bit. So the background pattern will never match because it's going in different directions, but it's just the heart pattern we're trying to match up. So at the top here, I'm just going to put that in place so that it matches the pattern underneath. And then I'm going to pull these bits so that they're all closer together. Like that. And then come down to this point and see if we can line that up, because once that's lined up, the other things kind of fall into place more easily. There we are. So those three are kind of a bit more in line. And that's it. So I'm just going to hold on to that. And then I'm going to smooth my finger over some of these, straighten them out, and the rest of them should kind of fall in line. That one's still a bit wonky. It's got a crease there. So I'll go back to my corner again. There we are. So that's looking a bit more like it on this side. Some of these are still a little bit out. So I'm just going to pull a little bit on that to line that one up. And then either side of that, just smooth those two down better. And do the same for that one. Smooth the one next to it down a bit. There we are. So I think they're all lining up now. So you can get, once you've done that, you can get a bit of glue and stick those down. Actually, I think starting in the middle one would be best. So I'm going to put some on that point. Stick that. I'm going to cut this off now, make it a bit easier. And stick each of these down. There we are. So that's the front, and then I'm going to flip it over. And then ones that are kind of held down by the strip on the top, I'm just going to fold them in like that. a full-on pattern, this, isn't it? And one, and that one. And then these two are not attached, so I'm just going to put a little bit of glue along the edge. Stick that down on the edge there. Let those dry. And then I'm going to do the same here. So just two. Just fold up. Stick those down. Once those are dry, we can then fold those up too. So you just want those bits to sit along the line. So they're all in a line like that. And then this side as well. There we are, and then we can do our first weave. So we can just sit on top like that, cheating. So yeah, so we've gone under, over, no, sorry, over, under, over, under, over. And so the next one needs to go under, over, under, over, under. Like that. And so then I'm just going to do that for these remaining ones. Here we are. And so once we get to the end there, I'll just put a little bit of glue on the point there. And then I'm going to stick these down as well. And then I'm going to grab this piece and just put glue all over the back. And I'm going to stick it, you can see where the edges of the weaving ends, so it's a kind of square there. So I'm going to just stick this piece just over the kind of edges of our last lines of weaving, like that. So the point sits in the point of those ends. And then I'm going to grab my scissors, I'm going to flip it over and then make that final cut. So cut the white bit off of the front here to make the top of the heart there. And I'm cutting it, all of the layers together. There we are. So just check the back to make sure that it all matches up and there's no white bit showing on there. And then I'm going to grab this little piece and I'm going to stick this on the back. So I'm just going to put a bit of glue at either end. And then kind of bring it down there, so it's almost to the edges there. While that's drying, I'm going to get this piece and I'm going to round the edges, both ends. Get my corner rounder. Just got a little bit of a curve on it. And I'm going to stick a little bit of glue on this end and attach it to the front of the heart inside. Ooh, stuck together. So just in there, like that. And then this end, I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the bottom of the heart. I don't want it to go all the way up. And then I'm going to stick that on there. The most sensible way would have been to have put the glue on the end of the strap. But so the key thing is, wherever you put your glue, just make sure it's only at the bottom, so you've got a little bit of gap there. So once that's dry, you can then tuck the heart under that strap that we made on the back, pull up this top bit and then pull it back up, so it kind of creates a closure and a hanging. So you've got something you could attach some string to if you wanted to make this a label for a present. So I said before that you could make a kind of garland with it or a hanging. So you can make several of them and have them all side by side on a hanging like that. Quite nice alternated, wouldn't they? So if you just put string through that top loop, you could do that, so a little decoration, and then you could use them in your journal as floating pockets. So this really, you might not necessarily want the strap that long. So look, I've got a journal. You could put it, so you could have it in your journal like that. You could put it over the page, then you could fold that and have that coming over the page. So you could do something with it on that side, stick it in, or put a paper clip over it. Or you can use it as a bookmark, have it sticking out the top like that. And so because it's got these little pockets, you can use it as a kind of open envelope as well. So lots of ways to use them, and they come in pairs in the shop, and you can make as many as you like, make a massive garland. And for those of you who've stayed to the end, there is a freebie. So there's this one in these lovely kind of dusky pinks and golds and a little bit of kind of turquoisey green in there as well. So if you'd like the freebie, comment heart in the comments below, and I'll get back to you with a link where you can sign up for my VIP list, and you'll get the free printables. So I really hope you have fun with these. Have a good week, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.